Good morning, everybody. Very happy to be here. My name is Amitabh Ray, and I work in corporate. Over the many years, I worked with people like yourself, a lot of young entrepreneurs and employees. What I found in every organization that companies, they have all their great mission statement, values, principles, so on and so forth. But often, employees find it difficult to navigate between those words and try to differentiate between mostly similar looking statements. Over the past many years of my corporate experience, I used a very common principle and a very simple one when I was faced in a situation where I'll have to take a decision or a difficult decision. And I'm here today to talk about my moral compass, which is doing the right thing against doing the things right. Now, what is the difference between these two? Let me start with this real-life example from my own area. The company policy was not permitting a very long working from home kind of thing. For a person to be boarded, to reach just on time to goodbye his grandson in a hospital. He was dying, the kid. Our corporate world is SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. In each of the examples I'll see here, and I'll explain, we'll notice that the person perhaps sometime going beyond the Standard Operating Procedure or SOP. You're not supposed to keep a flight on tarmac waiting for one particular passenger. From one airline to the other, coming closer home, we all know in 1932, India got its first airlines, Tata Airlines. J.R.D. Tata started that. But a lot of us don't know the plan and the idea and everything was from another guy, his British friend, Neville Vincent. Neville was World War fighter pilot, and he saw an opportunity to come to this part of the world and start an airlines which was not there at that point in time. So he came up with a wonderful business plan. Being a pilot, he committed himself that I will fly the aircraft, and went from door to door, knocking some of the biggest business houses in India. Nobody was interested, because at that point in time, this was perceived to be a very, very difficult business proposition. JRD looked into the proposal and went ahead. And they made an agreement. The agreement was for 5 years. Neville will give the business plan, he will run the airlines, he will work as a pilot, and he will get 30% of the profit, where Tata's or JRD will bring the money and also provide the management support. First year of operation, the airlines generated 60,000 rupees of profit. In today's term, it could be 100 times higher than that. 5 years down the line, airlines' profit increased 10 times. J.D. Choksi was the legal advisor of Tata's at that point in time, and J.D. was not the chairman. He advised Tata's that, look, we don't need to get into this contract once again in the same terms, because the profit was 10 times higher. J.D. was not happy, but he went to Naveen, his friend, and he told Neville the outcome. He was terribly upset, of course. And JD knew it was not fair. He came back and he met his personal lawyer and advisor, Dinshaw Dazi. Dazi said, while Choksy's advice was legally right, but perhaps morally it was not. Therefore, Tata immediately went back to Neville and said, forget it. We will continue the business in the same old terms and conditions. Like in our life, in corporate or personal, we always face such dilemma that what to do when we are faced with this kind of situation. And the decision each of us take during those trying times makes who we are in real life. This allows me to introduce paradox versus problem. We today live more in a paradoxical environment in our own life as well as in corporate. Problem handling is something which we teach people here in institutes. Problems are easier to handle because problem always has a right answer and wrong answer. You pick up the right answer. That's what you are taught. Paradoxes are a little different. In real life, you face more paradox than problem because in paradoxical environment, there are multiple answers to a common problem, and each of them can be correct. What we are going to choose? The topic I took here today, that doing the right thing versus doing things right, is one of such example of a paradox. There could be many examples to define a paradox. In my own life, every day I am faced with challenge, like which path should I take? Shall I go for speed versus quality? All of us know that if you go for quality, you compromise the speed, and vice versa. Shall we go for standardization or agility? We know the trade-off. And not the speed or the quality is the right answer or wrong answer. This is the paradox we need to face. My first biggest paradoxical statement I heard as a little kid from my mother. The director said yes to go and change the marketing strategy, and Dove changed it all. Even today, you will not find a traditional, beautiful model giving Dove advertisement. It changed the strategy of the company, strategy of its marketing and advertising since then. The outcome was, next year, Dove's profit increased by 100% from $1 billion US dollar to $2 billion US dollar. It's one of the examples how you do the right thing. While doing things right would have been follow what others are doing, follow what company's marketing strategy is and advertising strategy is. Time and again, people decided to go against such thing, to challenge themselves, and rose to the occasion. Come to an event which happened just a few weeks back. This young gentleman, 21-year-old, even today perhaps you will find his Instagram and Facebook account live, and if you go there you will see how loved he was as a young child. Antonius was in Palu airport in Indonesia when 7.5 Richter scale quake struck Indonesia a few weeks back. And there was a plane on the tarmac about to take off. He stayed there, ensured the pilot take off successfully. before he leaves the place. Plane took off, and then he jumped out of the crumbling tower. But he died before he could be taken to the hospital. What he did he do the right thing? Of course, yes. But was that thing doing it right way? Perhaps no. Because again, coming back to SOP, standard operating procedure. What standard operating procedure of an earthquake? What we are taught, right? If there is an earthquake, immediately leave the building. He did not do that. Pilot, when he landed the flight, was in tears because he told me goodbye, have a safe flight. And in 5 minutes' time, I connected back to the control tower saying that, okay, I'm fine. I could not hear his voice. Again, these are the people who choose in a paradoxical environment how to do the right thing. And why some people do things differently when others don't in an environment which is common to many people. Given a particular situation, perhaps you will do something different than I will because of something I call dominant logic. What is dominant logic? Dominant logic is your bias or our biases. It forces us to see a particular thing through a lens. And that lens defines what you will see. If I go outside of this and go to that balcony, I'll see a wonderful landscape. The lens I'll choose for my camera will perhaps define what part of that landscape I'll be capturing. What you will see in this particular picture, a vintage car, I can tell you, different people will see different things. To a student, like a lot of you here, this could symbolize freedom. Now I have a car, I can go to Gangtok any day I want, anytime I want. For a rich person, this could be, a lot of people keep vintage cars. This could symbolize status symbol. To an environmentalist, the same car will symbolize to be a polluter. Is any of this statement wrong? No. It can be a status symbol, it can be symbol of freedom, and it can be a symbol of a polluter. Dominant logic helps us to select an option from a paradoxical world. Now, if I talk about what you see if you look at a picture, or even if you think of an event, if I ask you, what do you think of Titanic? What comes to your mind when you hear the word Titanic? Perhaps this: Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio, standing on the edge of a ship during the wonderful sunset and having a great time. But let me take you to the other story of Titanic. As we all know, Titanic went down in 1912. 1,500 people died on that fateful night. So what happened? There were 3 ships. It was told they were nearby Titanic at that point in time. At 2:20 a.m. in the morning when Titanic went down, they started releasing rocket flares as SOS. They were sending SOS message using their radio. The closest ship was only 7 miles away, called Samson. And the Samson crews were hunting seals illegally in that water. They were not supposed to, or they never had license to go there. They saw the flares and they decided that, well, we should not get caught because of this. They turned around their ship and ran away. They represent people among us who are always worried about our own sin and say, okay, I'll have to manage my sin and keep it secret, so I don't want to expose myself. The next ship was called Californian. It was 14 miles away from Titanic. When the captain heard that disaster message on his radio, and that ship was inside the dark ice field at that point in time, captain told their people that we are not going to go now. Environment is not right. I cannot endanger life of my crews. So we wait here till the condition becomes right to go tomorrow morning. They went to bed. The ship which came and rescued some of the people from Titanic was Carpathia, was 58 miles away. The moment the captain got the message, he asked his crews to turn around the ship and go full speed there. Some people said there are ice field and it's dark and we still have not got the right coordinate of that particular ship sinking. He said, never mind, keep moving, we'll figure it out on our way. About 4:10 a.m. in that morning, Carpathia arrived. By that time, Titanic sank. And it was that ship which saved 705 people from 20 lifeboats of Titanic. Captain didn't think twice to follow the standard operating procedure. He did what he thought is the right thing to do instead of doing the right thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I finish my talk by hoping all of us will be Carpathians. Thank you very much.